Hello, and welcome to the Consider Your Mind podcast. I'm your host, Eric King, and along with my co host, Mino Pachan, we're here to talk about all things mental health. Let's get into it. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Consider Your Mind podcast. I'm your gracious host, Eric King, and I'm joined by, the fam, bro, my co host, Mr. Moore Beat, Stephen Moore. What it do, bro?
What it do? What it do? What up, though? How's everybody doing?
Yeah, for sure, man. I'm trying to be like you. Y'all can't see him right now. My man is bathrobed up, do rag on, looking too comfortable right now, man. I'm like, sheesh. My man looking like Steven Hefner up in here.
Oh,
Playboy.
You got me over here dying.
Nah, hey man. But thanks for rocking with us another episode, man. It's been a
man.
little bit, man. It's been a couple weeks, hey, we busy
Yeah,
grown
for
men
sure.
dealing with real life and the holidays, happy Thanksgiving to
Yes.
everybody. We're coming
Happy
off the heels of
Thanksgiving,
that.
y'all.
Yeah. And of course, immediately the next day, not even the end of Thanksgiving. It's Black Friday, another holiday, Christmas,
Yep.
the disrespect of Thanksgiving. Immediately move on.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, you're done. We got all of this other stuff going on right now.
For real, man. Stores changed over quick.
Yeah, man.
Yep, Mariah Carey was on the radio. We heard her. She's back.
Oh, she be
Christmas
waiting for
song.
this time of year.
I'm
Oh
trying to tell
yeah.
you, eating heavy, man. But yeah, man. So a lot of stuff has happened since we last got with y'all. One of the things that was going on in my life in the previous episodes was getting to that car accident. You was going through some car accidents as well.
Oh yeah, me too.
Yeah, man. And so now I just got a new car. A little 2021. 21 thing.
Skirt.
So you know what I'm saying?
Skirt.
Back out here,
Hey.
Yeah, I feel real safe too. It's one of these new cars got safety features. They damn near drive themselves.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
man.
so that'll be nice, picking up the little man with that. And yeah, man, just year-end crunches, all my working people out there, you know how it is. Vacations are coming up, projects
Yeah.
are due, end of reports, man. So, we're just getting it in, man. So
Yeah, man, that's real. That's real. That boy hit that business right there.
hey,
Into
right
your
away, people.
reports.
And hey, y'all know what it is. Yeah, this grown
Yeah,
folk show.
man. Yeah.
Mental health, you see? Yeah, this show is about mental health because of stuff like
Yes.
that. Them year-end reports.
And you know what? It's crazy because around this time of year, I start thinking about seasonal depression. I start thinking about people who lost family members and now
Very
they're
much so.
spending these holidays without a very important piece in their family. So, around this time of year, my heart really goes out to a lot of people, man. I'm truly grateful to have everything that I do, and I think this Thanksgiving just kind of made me reflect on that, man. Just truly being thankful for everything that I have, and really thanking my God for everything that I have. Bittersweet, whatever. I'm sorry, man. This got a little serious right
There you
there,
go,
man.
man. Take us to church one time, bro.
Yeah, man. I
So,
got in that thankful mood right quick. Like,
yeah.
hey.
Hey, nothing wrong with that. That's good for your mental health, people.
Yeah,
To be
yeah, man.
thankful. Because there are some people, if you were able to spend the holidays with your loved ones, there's some people out here, who have some loved ones that are passed are no longer going to be with them here, this year, and so people, again, I'm so glad you mentioned seasonal depression
Yeah,
because,
man.
one of my, when I went to college, a lot of the black people there were from the Caribbean and, Africa and stuff like that. And so they're used to the sun all year round. And so wintertime comes and, Minnesota and that sun
Oh
is low.
yeah.
It's not a lot of sun. A lot of them,
Oh
again,
yeah.
that's when I first learned about seasonal depression. And some of them would have special lamps in their rooms to like give off UV rays and things like that,
Yes. Yes.
to, brighten their mood. Cause it's something, again, you kind of take for granted if you're used to that environment. And then you
Yep.
come up to the great white north. And I remember one of the homies, Patton, man, he was from the Bahamas, bro. He said, "I'm convinced your sun does not work." He said, "Your sun don't work." I said, "Dang," because it can be bright and sunny again,
Yeah,
real
yeah.
bright outside. Sun is right there, and ain't no warmth coming off that thing, man. So that was confusing to him.
Yeah, yeah.
Like it
He
don't
like
work, man.
somebody broke the sun over
Somebody
here.
broke y'all sun, bro. So yeah, that imagery. Shout out to my
Yeah.
island folks, man. I don't blame y'all for moving back.
Oh man. Yeah, man. Big shout out to all my island folks, man, too. I was hanging out with my partner from Jamaica the other night. Shout out to you, Mugs. Everybody go to Eden Prairie Shopping Center, Soul Stadium. Check out his kicks. Kicking it with him, man. He's a really good dude. We just went and watched the Timberwolves game, man. It was awesome, dude.
Oh, okay.
Celebrating my guy Mugs, man. Big shout out
That
to Mugs. Happy birthday, bro.
That's what's up, man. That's who you went to the game with. Again, he was telling me you went to the game before this. Ah, okay.
Yeah,
Kicking it
yeah.
with the Jamaicans, man.
Yeah,
So now,
man.
okay, now you got a little promotion at the job. So
Respect,
now you
man.
know,
Yeah,
yeah,
respect.
okay.
Respect.
Now you sitting courtside with the
Yeah.
island folk. That one expression got more jobs than a Jamaican. So I know the
Yeah.
man hustling. He got
You already know. You already
for
know.
sure, for sure. But
Yeah,
all
see,
right,
that
folks.
take me back to like Busta Rhymes days. You know what I mean?
Mm, if
Yeah.
you really want to party with me,
Uh,
yeah, man,
People ain't
for real.
really know, man.
People need to
Busta.
people need to do a versus with him. That's a complete sidebar. Versus with Buster, man. Hook him up with somebody, man.
Ooh,
Come on, bro.
bro.
Come on,
Who?
bro.
I don't know if people can.
That's for the
That's a tough
next.
one. Yeah,
That's
yeah,
for
yeah,
the
yeah. That's
Let's Talk About It podcast. If you know, you
okay.
know. If you don't, you better find out about that.
Yeah.
Um, but
Yes,
I
sir.
but hey, back to the topic at hand, the Consider Your Mind
Yes.
podcast. We're about all things mental health, and today is no different. And we wanted to kind of expand on something that you touched on last time we were on the air, which is I brought up the idea of authenticity versus attachment, which I do want to do a full episode on. But you kind of said that that's something that you've been working on with your therapist was some attachment issues, and so and as people have heard previous episodes, we're going to be doing some work with Codependence Anonymous, Coda. Shout out to my homegirl Danae. We just talked yesterday. And
Yeah.
so again, those attachment things. So I think this is a perfect time to kind of delve into that, family season, holiday season, all this stuff around, how those attachments in life, really affect us.
Yeah. Thank you, Eric. Like you said too, man. Me and my therapist were diving into that. Not to get you guys too deep into me and my therapy chair. Maybe save that for a
That's right.
different show.
That's right. That's
Uh,
right, man. Don't let these people in your business like that. I ain't pay for all that.
exactly, exactly. That's coming soon. Um, some of the symptoms of attachment issues was difficult forming emotional bonds to other people, and that was for real for me because I moved around a lot, and it was difficult to develop a real tight relationships with people long term. You know what I mean? Everything felt so disposable and so uh short term.
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean?
Yeah, kind of like I
So
think I've heard that with like military kids, obviously being moving
yes,
around a
yes,
lot.
it was a form of being like a military brat. You know what I mean? Um, which was kind of tough, but that was one of those things that contribute to um attachment symptoms of attachment issues. Uh, limited experience of positive emotions. Now, I came from a Baptist church. You know what I mean, like a traditional black
You
family
came from the church.
for the church, like a
The
traditional
church.
that culture. I shouldn't say black. I should
Mm-hmm.
just say,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
sorry. I
Culture,
apologize
yeah.
for that.
We
Let me
know what
clean
you're
that
talking
up.
about.
Right. You know what I mean? A different culture, So there was a lot of positive love, like emotions, but I think not without getting too deep in my own stuff here. There was a lot of negative situations that happened that I seen at a young age. Um and I think that also could contribute to having some attach. And I mean, attachment doesn't necessarily have to mean you're attached to a person, right? Like a kid can get attached to his baby blanket. There's
Yep,
different
yep,
ways that looks. You know
yep,
what I'm
yep.
saying?
Mm-hmm.
And I think for me, my comfort, where my comfort zone and stuff was, to getting high. So like whether it was drinking, um, or like getting validation. You know what I mean? I was kind of attached to some of these things, which were, I mean, a negative characteristic,
Mm-hmm.
or character, yeah, characteristic. So yeah, discover these things about me, and like I always talk about, man, is staying self-aware, and being diligent. So I know these things about myself. So not saying that everything will change, but I mean now I can address it. Now I can
Yep, yep.
start taking steps to addressing it. And one of the things that we say a lot in AA, is progress, not perfection. So
Mm.
not holding myself to a certain standard and realizing that it's progress. It's going to take some time. It's not just going to be perfect overnight where I wake up and I'm free of negative characteristics, you know what I mean, or character traits of myself that I don't like.
Yeah.
It
I've heard
takes
like
time.
the perfect is the enemy of the good. you know.
That's a bar. I like that. That's
I,
because
w-
you
I
be
wish,
reading.
yeah, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, I wish I could take credit. I know I got that from somebody.
Yeah.
But yeah, the perfect is the enemy of the good, progress, not perfection. I like that. Because otherwise you can get stuck in that. And it can
Yeah.
really, if you're waiting for everything to be perfect in your life to, go ahead and live, then you're never going to live. If you're waiting for the perfect time to go ahead and get therapy, the perfect time to go ahead and start working out, the perfect time to go ahead and do whatever it is, there's going to be no perfect time.
Yeah.
This world is always changing. The only constant is change. So, and does that have something to do with, like, again, obviously AA, our AA plug, our Alcoholics
Yeah,
Anonymous
man.
plug. So you give me the
Your
insight.
local neighborhood recovering alcoholic here.
You feel me? Just in case anybody needs some help, hey, reach out to my man, Mr. More Beats. He
Yeah,
can
man.
relate to you. But when it comes to that, is that kind of has to do with like the steps? I've heard, like, again, we'll get
Mm,
into it a little bit later with codependency. They have 12 steps too, and it's like you can get stuck in like the first three, or like it's not until like the fifth step.
yeah.
You can go round and round. Those first few steps quite a bit.
Oh
You
yeah,
know.
we see it, or I see it a lot in AA,
Hmm.
where people will hit them first three steps and be like, "All right, I'm good," because you start to see a little change, man, after those first three,
Hmm.
you know, and you're kind of like, "Oh, I'm good," you know what I mean? Here we go. I got this.
Yeah. You know what?
Um,
I
yeah,
think that's the danger that I have. When I see a little bit of success, it's easy for me to get lax.
oh
That,
yeah,
yeah, you know what? So I don't know if anybody else is guilty of that too. I don't need to be praised too much, because then I need some
yeah.
pressure on me. Things you
Hey,
learn about yourself.
they say they pressure builds pipes, or either or pressure breaks pipes, or either makes diamonds.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Hmm. Yeah, man. But something that you mentioned earlier too, like, even, going, maybe kind of led you down that path, to alcoholism, doing things, going out, hanging with people, doing things, for acceptance, necessarily. And so,
yeah.
I remember I was hearing something, again, shout out Gabramati, but it was like, how many times have we suppressed your true self to be accepted? Losing touch with your authenticity for the sake of, acceptance, you know.
You know, that
Yeah.
is so good.
Hmm.
That is so good. We were talking about this too, the same type of situation. I was having a conversation, and me and my therapist like to call it taking the mask off. How often do we get, and well, I'm gonna just speak for me, moving around a lot as a kid and everything. I never was it was hard for me to be my authentic self. I was always trying to fit in. You know what I mean? No one wants to be ostracized, right? Especially at a young age.
Yeah, you
So
need that attachment, need is so
that
much realer when you're younger.
exactly, and especially too, if you come from a large family, um, you might not get as many looks your way. When you're all kids get it, whether you're the oldest, middle child, young, whatever. If you come from a large family too, it's easy to feel like you've been overlooked too. And
Marsha.
and you also know what too. You guys know. I have my daughter's a little older. I think with teenagers, at some point, your parents you always look at the parents as the bad guy, which is I don't know why this was what it is, but it always seems like you could do
Mhm.
everything, but at some
Mhm.
point that kid is gonna look at you and be mad, like just look at him,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
he
No,
think he, you know what I
you.
mean? Like there, at some
Yeah.
point, I
You
feel
don't
like
know
that happens.
anything, man. You're out of touch. There's no
Yeah,
need to,
yeah, yeah.
no need to argue. Parents just don't understand, And
Exactly.
that was
I
even
think
before my time, but it was a relatable thing, clearly.
exactly, and I think that goes on from time to just generation to generation. Um, but making it through it though, or whatever. Oh, but yeah, it's like I said, growing up, nobody wants to feel ostracized or different. So I spent a lot of time trying to fit in with different groups, whether it was white kids, black kids, gators, nerds, jocks, gangsters, whatever. You know what I mean?
Shout
I
out to
spent
the skaters, man. They had the most comfortable shoes. Skater shoes are, hey,
dude,
shout out to
skaters.
them.
When I was in my skate going through my skater phase, that was probably the most comfortable fits that I used to have. The Jenkos, um,
Oh yeah.
the Vans, and at
Got
that
my
time, I
Vans on, but
honestly,
they look
I'm
like sneakers.
I'm gonna be for real. It was Airwalks, bro. Like
Oh
I had
yes.
Airwalks, because it
Ooh.
was cheap. I mean, like
Mm-hmm.
you know, what I mean, it was cheap,
Definitely
and they were good
airwalks.
skate shoes. So, yeah, I remember that. But yeah, you know, trying to fit in, man. And
Mm-hmm.
at what point do you start to lose yourself? You know,
Yep.
being putting on all of these different masks. And I think what happened with me was I never addressed this situation. I never addressed this condition that I was going through because I didn't know. You know, I mean, not nobody's checking. You don't got information about this, and if you do, you're that young. You don't care about really listening to it. You know. But now as an adult and I have kids of my own, and I I'm on a search and on a journey for information, and not just information, but how do I get information and apply it? How do I use the information that I'm getting? So now that I'm older
Mm-hmm.
and I'm growing and everything, and I'm understanding it, and I'm like, man, you know, I dealt with a lot of trauma growing up from that, not even really understanding what it was, and never really understanding why I was doing certain things until, you know, like I tell my daughter, hindsight is 2020. So it's
Yeah,
like
it becomes normalized.
it becomes normalized,
Yeah,
exactly.
something
So
I'm
like,
reading right now is like the myth of normal. It's about toxic culture. We're in a very toxic culture, but we become normalized by it. And so when our body reacts a certain way, or we're going through stresses, whatever it is, that's actually a normal response to the environment
yes, yes,
because the
yep,
environment's toxic.
yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and but growing up in our culture, we don't know what to call at. We don't know what's happening. So how we ended up acting out. And when you see these symptoms, like I was talking with my therapist as well, I was saying, you know, having different tools in your toolbox to deal with it. You know, not it's not a one size fits all tool. You can't just develop one skill and be like, "Yep, that's gonna fix all my problems." Like,
Sound nice, don't it? Those that's a
yeah,
hustle.
yeah,
That's an
exactly.
infomercial. Call me 9.99 for my
Yeah,
free course on how to change your life.
with just this one solution. So
I
no,
know.
but I mean, there's gonna be different ways to handle different situations, and my attachment issues in feeling like I need to be attached. Um, and let's call what it is, attachment disorder, right? Um, you know, there's different
Mm-hmm.
ways
Mm-hmm.
of dealing with it. Uh, and a lot of people too, and you're hearing it become a lot more of a thing now. People talk about their anxiety, you know, engaging in high risk behavior such as substance abuse. That was completely me. I'm reading it right here, you guys.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Hey.
Engaging in high risk behavior such as substance abuse. These are symptoms of attachment issues.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know what I
And,
mean?
were you one of those guys? Have you always? Again, I know you've been married for quite a while now, like
Oh yeah.
coming up on 20 years. But like before that, did you always have a girlfriend? Were you one of those type of dudes?
Actually, no.
Okay,
Um,
my man, just like me. See,
I
we have the other issue we'll talk about later. Yeah.
You're exactly. I told you to. I moved around a lot. I was always the new dude.
Yep, yep, yep,
Um,
yep,
you know,
yeah,
putting that mask on, and then you know I was kind of familiar to some people, and I think for most part, man, my personality was just kind of I didn't want to make too much noise, so I tried to just blend in. You know what I mean? So I was constantly just like trying to conform with whatever was
yeah,
going on. Just and then I don't know, at some point, man, I got older and I just kind of just lost it. I just was kind of
yeah.
like started losing touch with reality.
Yeah,
It's
and we can lie
crazy.
to ourselves too, and like cope, justify it. Reading this book, and it's kind of giving quotes and like kind of little phrases for you to identify throughout the book, actually, which is pretty interesting. And one of them, was um, as a child we moved a lot. When I went to a new school, I didn't feel good enough. I was afraid that I wouldn't be liked, so I told myself I didn't care and stayed away.
Yep.
Like a defense mechanism.
Exactly.
You go around.
Exact.
I don't care what people think of me. I don't care what people think of me. Why? Because like you know
You feel like you're unworthy anyway, right?
Exactly, and you're moving like you're okay.
Yeah. And this is gonna
That's a
last a
fear.
long in a year. I'm gonna
Mhm,
be back in Minnesota, all right, and then
defense
or either in a
mechanism,
year
yeah.
I'll be back in New Jersey. You know, shout out to Hoboken too. Uh, I miss Hoboken High. I wish I could go back and do my high school all over again. I got a lot of regrets.
Shoot,
Um,
I do not.
but
I don't wanna do nothing again.
it's
Nothing.
not
I
bad
ain't going back at
regrets.
all.
I regret, and this ties into attachments a little bit too because I regret not staying connected with a lot of these people, a lot of the people that I met in Hoboken. Um, it's
That's
been
interesting,
almost
okay.
it's been almost 20 years, and I know
Yeah.
I'm kind of showing my age now. I
Yeah,
graduated
yeah,
high school damn
we
near
grown.
20. Yeah, we grow. I graduated high school about 20 years ago. And I don't think I really talked to anybody from my graduation class. And it was some really cool people in there, man. Shout out to my brother Rob. He was the twin tower. He was the other half of they called us the twin towers because we both kind of tall. We both over 6 feet in high school. You know what I mean?
Yeah, in
We
high
was
school
over
that was a
six
big deal.
feet.
That's true.
In high school, that was a huge thing. Me and him are both 6'2" in high school. We ain't really grown much now, but so people called us twin towers. Um, and I ain't play a lick of basketball either. For people out there thinking,
He was at the basketball game as you heard courtside, but that's as closest to
yeah,
the court as it comes. That's
that's
about
about as close as a court you're gonna see me courtside at the Timberwolves games. Uh, yeah, but I'm not much of a hooper, so me and him we were into music. You know, what I mean, we kind of listened to music, and Rob actually was very much of a Christian, right? Christian brother. So
Okay, okay.
that kept me out of a lot of trouble because I was going back and forth from Minnesota to New Jersey, and um I was on trash. I ain't gonna lie, I was on trash. So when I was coming out to New Jersey, the dude I met, Rob, one of my best friends, man. I wish I was still connected with him, but he helped me make sure that I was on point, man. I went to a Spanish church. Um, my homeboy Rob is Dominican. I went to church, and
The Iglesia.
he was like translating
Yes,
as
the
the guy was
Iglesia.
the
Yes.
preaching. He was translating,
Mhm.
and
Okay,
that
cool.
was crazy. That was actually pretty cool, though. No lie,
Nice.
like I miss those times.
But
Yeah,
again, you
but
said it has to do with the attachment. Yeah, holding on to those times again, reliving things, regretting all that stuff.
yeah, yeah. There's a ton of regrets about relationships that I still wish I had. Um, and you know what though, that was a part of dealing with these attachment issues. I was acting out, but realizing this and understanding it really helped me to move forward. Talking about it really helped me move forward. This was no longer just a thought that was rattling around in my head and allowing myself to rationalize it however I see fit. I actually start talking about it, just saying it out loud and being able to get a different perspective on it. Someone else's perspective on it, saying, "Wow, you really, give me their opinion." And this is a professional people, so this isn't just like your, um,
This isn't
your,
your local bartender, the
yeah,
hood
yeah.
psychiatrist and
And
therapist.
you know what? I know my dad is a barber, and I come from that culture, so I know sometimes people when we open up, to our barber or hairstylist, it can feel like a therapy session. I actually encourage that because you're talking about it in some form, but even here, what I say,
Mhm.
what Eric said,
Mhm.
don't always hold people's responses and opinions as like medical advice. You always want to make sure you're going to get a doctor's opinion or somebody with some kind of degree and some kind of schooling behind them. Get their opinion as well.
Absolutely. Hey man, we just some brothers on here in therapy.
Yeah,
That's
man.
it. Just
We
trying to
just going
encourage
through
y'all to
it.
get in the,
Yeah,
the mental
we
health
going through it.
world.
We're talking about it. You know what I
Exactly,
mean?
exactly. Or
And
as you say, what one thing I love you say, you recover out loud.
yes, for those who suffer in silence, I recover out loud for those who suffer in silence. Because I
For
mean, I
sure,
remember
for sure.
being there. Like
Mhm.
there was a teetering point, right? Where I was like, "Man, I ain't no alcoholic," right? There was that, of course, I ain't no alcoholic. I don't even drink as much as, my uncle over here,
Yeah,
he
compared to the
drink more than
wino in the
me.
corner, I got my stuff together.
Yeah, exactly. I still got my job. All my
You
bills is
know?
paid. You know what I mean? How can I be an alcoholic? I
Mhm.
remember those days. But it's that fine line, you know what I mean? And it can be hard to tell sometimes. Uh but I remember that, and that being a difficult point to admit, you know what I mean?
Mhm. No, I think something you said, yeah, facing things, not taking steps, not having to be perfect. Um, and one thing I've heard too is like not everything um, can be fixed. Can be not everything that can be dealt with that's addressed, but nothing that's not addressed will ever be dealt with.
I think that
Yeah,
was
that's
a
something like
quote. I
that's
had
something.
it.
Yeah,
I think it was Alec Baldwin, I think.
Maybe. Hey, people,
Maybe,
y'all,
I
we're
don't
not
know.
that great at quotes on this show, especially on the fly. That's just my thing. They just come to my head. I don't always quote them correctly, but y'all get
Yeah,
the gist. You know what I'm saying?
it's in my head. I
So
get it.
yeah.
But no, like I
Uh,
said, me recovering out loud. So for those who suffered in silence, I remember when I was suffering, I was kind of on the edge. Seeing somebody else going through it and saying, "Hey, man, listen, it ain't that bad. Look, I feel great, and this is, probably the best thing that ever happened to me." And they were explaining it, seeing somebody to end, also it being a black person. It was somebody who looked like me saying, "Hey, man, I made it through it. It's all right. Deal with your stuff."
real,
So
yeah, real talk.
somebody did it for me, and I just want to pay
Hmm.
it forward. So I'm out loud about my recovery. You see me wearing sober t-shirts and I'm selling sober t-shirts, and I'm a part of sober events. I'm going to be going to do some speaking engagements at different AA meetings. So if there's anybody listening to
Okay,
this who is
my
in
man gonna be on
AA.
the chitlin circuit, right?
Exactly. Hey, if you're in AA, message me, man. I might pull up to your meeting and,
For
and,
sure,
and do a little talk or something, or just come in and listen. You know what I
for
mean?
sure.
I love to hear other people's stories, man. It motivates me and it keeps me going. So let me know what AA meetings y'all go to. I just switched my schedule. Thankful for a promotion at work, so my schedule switched up a little bit. So
We moving on
we
up.
moving up, man. Yeah, we're life is good. You know what I mean?
George and Wheezy up in this mother.
My worst day sober beats my best day drunk any day. You know what I mean?
Bars, bars, people. You know this man was a rapper for real.
For real,
So
holler early.
yeah, for sure, man. But that's dope, man, because that kind of transitions into, like I said, I went to um Codependence Anonymous. Went to like a little online event. We're kind
Oh,
of
you
getting
went?
well, yeah, it's an online thing. We're trying to myself and Danae, as I mentioned, Danae,
Yo,
Durant.
shout out to Danae.
Yeah,
You
Danae.
guys, that episode was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing.
Yeah,
Amazing.
man, episode 38. Check it out, man. And so we're gonna be working, and it just, again, perfectly like you were saying. Want to do more for people of color, because just as
Yes.
you said, just as in Alcoholics Anonymous, same thing in Codependence Anonymous. There wasn't a lot of people of color there. When that's what you're going through it, and there are
When you
certain
know, you
certain
know.
comfort levels and things like that when you're around people. It look like kind of gives you more of a boldness. Um,
Yeah.
and trying to feel normal, like when you're very uncomfortable. And so
Yeah.
we're trying to do that. And one thing she kind of pointed me to is this book called Peeling the Onion. It's about Codependence Anonymous. I guess it's kind of one of their manuals. And I'm reading this thing, and it kind of reminded me of the attachment things that you're going through. And and I'm glad you said you can relate to me. Before, prior to you being married, you weren't in a whole bunch of relationships, all these long-term things with people. You're mostly being single. But I was, kind of reading this thing, and it was talking about, the fears that we have,
Yeah.
like, and using these terms, like, using the term anorexia to describe it. So
Oh
relationship
yeah. Yeah.
anorexia, love anorexia.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
exactly. Relationship
dope,
anorexia.
yo.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
kind of gave
Yeah.
it like that, like, starved of that relationship. And what's the root of it is fear. So then within that, fear of, it was like fear of sex, fear of intimacy, fear of relationships, on those different levels, for whatever insecurity. And, obviously, and like I said, they have the little quotes to kind of see if you relate to it. And I said one earlier, but this is the one that hit me.
Yeah.
All of my relationships have failed. I stopped looking. I don't want to fail again. I feel sad. I was like, damn. Yep,
Yo.
that sums it up for me. I've
That
been
sounds
telling
like my
people, bro.
or not childhood, but like my whole dating
Mm-hmm.
thing. I got my heart broke one time, right? Poor
Mm.
little me.
Hitch
Uh
style. Yeah.
Patrick Henry High School. Uh the year was no, let me just
Oh my God. Four score in the year of our
yeah.
Lord. And
The year was 2000. The Chronic just came out. No, just
dang. Bring, bring, bring,
no,
bring, bring, bring,
no,
bring, bring, bring,
I got
bring.
hurt, man, and then I had problems getting myself attached in relationships after that because of the fear of it happening again. I was embarrassed. I was hurt. Um, my ego was shattered, bro. Like, it hurt, and I was like, I never wanted this to happen again. So I should never get into this. And then subconsciously, I started self sabotaging relationships after that. Like
Ooh, that's the
when
gun.
things start
Yep.
getting yeah, like when things started getting like really, really serious, I'll never forget it. There was a relationship that I self sabotaged. Um, just
Mm.
because I felt how serious it was getting, and
Yep.
I didn't know anything, man. All I knew was like, adults divorcing, and every relationship around me
Yep.
was toxic. All the relationships that I seen around me, like my cousin and his girl was toxic. My uncle and his wife were toxic. Like I didn't see any like positive relationships around. So I think the fear of messing up this beautiful woman and completely getting toxic with that person just kind of had me self-sabotage it. And
But
I
the
don't know,
regret because you did it out of fear. You did it
but
like
dude, the guilt and the
the guilt. Yep.
um I have resentment against myself
Mm-hmm.
for that, you know what I mean? Because of course you live in the what could have been and all of this, and I feel guilty and shameful. I should have been a better person, and my life could be completely different.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
I started going down that whole road
Yeah.
and just
And
realizing, what my life is. Like I said earlier to start the show, I'm grateful to have everything I do now, and I'm so thankful for all the people who's in my life and everything that I do have. Right, I'm so grateful
mm-hmm.
for that. I wouldn't change it for the world. Um, I'm just expressing how I feel about attachment issues and stuff with you guys. So, um,
It's
I'm
okay,
just
man.
getting a
Steve,
little
your wife
vulnerable.
ain't watching. Your wife ain't.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's all right, bruh. She ain't watching. It's all good. Nah, but no, no,
Feel like I'm
something that you
backpedaling a
said.
little
Yeah, no, no, it's all
bit.
good, man. So because something that you said stood out, like I said when I was reading this book, it was like, relationship addicts they attach themselves to others to avoid that feeling of inner pain or avoid being
Yeah,
alone.
yeah,
That's what relationship addicts do.
exactly.
But if you're a relationship
Even if it's
anorexic,
toxic.
even if it's toxic, exactly, you gotta have
Yeah,
it.
you gotta have
Um,
it.
exactly. But as a relationship anorexic, we may isolate or conversely feel compelled to seek out groups to avoid being alone.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
we're afraid of the possibility of being shamed or hurt or by denying natural feelings and desires for healthy,
Now,
intimate, emotional relationships.
mm,
Feel guilt. Yeah, we feel shame and hurt. And
now
so,
back to what I said
we try
before
to
about
deny that.
me being in all of these different groups. I was like, I was with the skaters, the jocks, the blah blah blah. That was probably for me the relatable feeling of the relationship anorexia. So I would join all of these groups and be a part of all of these groups to avoid being in a
Yep.
relate. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I got the squad. You know what I mean? I was in
Yeah.
a marching band. Don't judge me, y'all. I was in a I was in a marching band, hat, feather, everything. I did it all. I was in a marching band, a rock and roll band. I was a skater,
Oh,
a
you too. I was in
rapper.
the rock band for real. Yeah.
I
Shout
play
out
bass
to you, man.
guitar.
Yeah. I
You
had
know
a
what
bass
killed
too.
me? Um, it just makes me mad because South Park was right. There was an episode where Token, he's
Token,
like,
yeah.
Token, go get
Go
your
get your
bass. And
bass.
Token's like, I don't have a bass. Just because they're playing on the all black kids have a bass. Bro.
Yep.
Bro.
I had one too for a brief time when I was like 15, 16 or something. I had a
Me too. Man, look, I was cold on that bass, bro.
bro. I didn't make it much. I learned how to play a little Led Zeppelin,
Well,
ramble
I
on a
played for
little bit,
church.
but that's it.
I
Okay, you
told
play
you,
for
yeah, I
church.
grew
There
up in
you
a
go.
yeah, man, I played
Yep,
drums,
exactly.
get bass. We grew up, bro. We was like the Jackson Fives growing up. My dad did not play. Michael Lee from Gary, Indiana, bro.
Yep, no, that's
He from
deep.
right down the street from Michael Jackson. My dad from
Man,
right down the street.
interesting. Yeah, Gary, Indiana. And you know what?
Yeah,
Again, sidebar people, small world.
yeah.
When I was in college, I did PCA work, helping adults with disabilities, spinal cord injuries, cerebral palsy, things like that. And one of the guys, his name was Charlie, and he was from Gary, Indiana. He was a guy in his like
Mm-hmm.
50s and stuff,
Shout out to Gary.
50s. Yep. And he grew up and he was a guitar player and everything like that. And he said he was in a talent contest against the Jackson Five.
Mm.
He was one of them, like,
He got
man.
folded, didn't he?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
I don't
he
think
ain't
he
win
won.
that.
I don't
Yeah.
think he won. But yeah, he went to school with again the oldest, brothers Tito and all of them.
I think my
So
dad better than all of them though.
yeah.
Shout out to
Hey
my
man,
dad.
shout
Love you,
out.
Mike.
Yeah,
Michael Lee. I love you,
yeah,
Pop.
yeah, for sure, man, for sure. But and that's good that you can even say that because I got a lot of times. Um, I was watching something on FX. They had Ryan Reynolds and Deadpool. and
Yeah, yeah.
the guy from Always Sunny in Philadelphia, Rob McElhenney. They
My
bought a
wife watched that, the Rexons,
yeah,
something
Wrexham.
like
Welcome to
that.
Wrexham.
Rexon?
Yeah,
Yeah,
welcome to
yeah,
Wrexham. But the
yeah,
second to last episode, they did a really cool thing where it's called like a romance, but with the W, because Wrexham has a W in it. But it really
yeah.
was talking about sports' ability to bring men together, like intimacy. That's where we're safe to be, intimate, to like be affectionate, to touch.
Say, I
That's
love that
it
team.
was a very exactly. It
Yeah,
was a very cool episode because it was a lady, who wrote this book about that and like the safe spaces for men to kind of express those feelings healthily
wow, I'd
in a
never
particular
thought of it like that.
sports. Yeah, sports was the one way, and it talked about like how
Yeah,
many like what guys will kiss each other, they'll like hug each other, they'll slap each other on the butt. Yeah, so
yeah.
excited, like or in the stands, fans.
Hugging it
That's
out.
when
You high five like
hugging it
last
out.
night.
Just
We
met
high
somebody.
fiving people we don't even
There
know.
you go, courtside. That's where men
Yeah.
we can
Hey,
do
yo,
that. We
Anthony
can
Edwards
touch.
dunked on man.
Yeah, yeah,
It was
exactly. And that
crazy.
stuff, like we don't and they talked about like because Ryan and Rob, it's like they have a bromance, like, but it's a term
Yeah,
that doesn't exist for women. It's called friends. But like
yeah.
a bromance, because they'll touch each other, they'll hug, they'll like, almost like, really want to be around each other. But for women, that's just normal. They're just friends. Like,
Could
but
I
guys,
say something to
that was
that?
deep, man.
Because I can relate to that. For people, when you guys go out, it's called bowling, right? You just going bowling. But for
Bowling, yep, yep, yep.
people like me, recovered alcoholic, we gotta call it sober bowling. Hey man, we trying
I
to
remember
do
you
some
saying that.
sober bowling. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you gonna go play ball. I mean, sober ball. I remember you
Yeah,
saying that
yeah.
one of the first
We about to go
episodes.
play some sober pickleball. People like, yo, ain't it just pickleball? Yeah, not with us. We gotta
Hmm.
define that it's gonna be sober, you know. But I'm all about normalizing that, and you're right. I'm all about normalizing the bromance, just being yo, that's my guy. Like you're right. It isn't the same as women. That's just her friend. That's just her girlfriend.
Hmm. Yep,
Yeah.
and they can again hug, touch, be around each other, whatever it
Because
is.
would you call somebody
Just
your
be normal.
boyfriend? You know what
No,
I
no,
mean? See,
exactly.
men,
There's no
that's the
equivalent.
thing.
We
Hey
don't
man,
do
that's
it
my
like
hey,
that.
that's just my boyfriend. You like, yo, that's my boyfriend, bro. You know what I mean? And I'm
Nope.
sorry, I don't mean to laugh
Yep.
at this.
Hey, and all the ladies,
I don't
y'all
want to
look at us
offend
like y'all would
anybody.
look at us sideways too. The ladies would look at us hella sideways. So
I'm
they
gonna
don't
start
even put it
saying
like
it.
that. Yeah.
Eric, you
Goes,
my boyfriend. You my
yeah,
boyfriend.
okay. Tell
Yeah.
your wife that. See how she feel. Yeah. She like, none of that down low stuff around here. You see, we can't even play like that.
Oh, yeah, see.
But that's a whole nother episode for another
Hold
thing.
on.
But it kind of goes back to again, look, the codependence anonymous thing, the peeling the onion. But
Yeah.
it's like, the fear of intimacy, the fear of being deeply personal. One thing that me and Danae talked about was a lot of times men, it's confused our need for sex with our need for intimacy.
Yeah.
That's what that's confused. And sometimes we feel like we can only get sex through like I'm sorry, that intimacy
Intimacy
from
through
sex.
sex.
Through
Yes.
sex, exactly. And so now all of a sudden, think about that, mind F. Now
Yeah.
you're nervous about your sexual performance because that's the key to the stuff that you really want, which is, now there's another barrier to it, even.
Yeah.
So there's just it's deep, it's kind of deep stuff, man. One of the things he said is like, finally we conclude that we must be a mistake. The result of toxic shame is profound and painful. To avoid experiencing the deepest feelings, we develop dysfunctional patterns of behavior. We believe these feelings may
Mm,
actually cause us to die. There's a terror of intimacy. There's a real
damn.
terror, in that. I think one thing my therapist said to me, again, we're talking about stuff, recently being a father, going through all these emotions and stuff. And one thing he quoted, he said, he was quoting a poem, and he said, I thought I might die from a love like this. Caring so much you really
Man.
think you could die because you care, you loved so much. Like,
Yeah. Well,
there's a fear in that, of how much things do matter, because it's the exact opposite of going back to that. You know what, I'm a new kid in town, people may not like me, so what, I don't care what people think of me. It's the
yeah.
exact opposite of it.
Yep.
It's like,
It
no
is.
man, you can't help but
Yeah.
no, that matters to me more.
Well,
This the
I can feel that too because
that's real. It's real.
I wanted to stay underneath the radar, but also I wanted to be recognized. You know what I mean? So it was just this conflicting. You got these conflicting emotions in you. You
Well, yeah,
know.
because one of the things too it said is like, you can get a high from working the room at social gatherings, but this ongoing
Yes.
choice helps you avoid deeper relationships by moving, working the room, moving around. Again, like I said, you get into even social or gatherings or groups, to
Yeah.
not feel alone. But at the same time, a lot of times that's the easiest place to isolate.
Mm. Well, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna be
Hiding in
vulnerable
plain
too.
sight,
Hiding in plain sight. There's been so many times where I've been in a room full of people, but I felt extremely lonely. You know what I
Mm,
mean?
say
There
that
was
again for the
plenty of
nosebleeds,
times,
boy.
I'm in a room full of people, everybody talking and vibing and but I just felt lonely. There's been a lot of times where I've experienced that.
I experienced that, man. I remember New Year's. This is one of the rougher New Year's that I had. Just again, almost it's about to be New Year's again, which is crazy. But all 11 months ago, I remember. Again, this is after I just found out I'm going to be a father and all this stuff. The podcast is about to launch. We'd already committed to all this stuff, and I go out to this, bar, like kind of make a little relationship with the local bartenders. And they was going to have a New Year's party. And
Yeah.
I remember it was popping in there, it was jumping in there. But when I got in there, it just felt so lonely because like, and the bartender lady was like the only one I really knew. You know,
Mm.
it's like, dang, I am around a bunch of people. Here
Yeah.
they all know each other and they get along. They like, but I'm still so isolated. And
Yeah,
one
man.
thing, I spoke about with my therapist too is that sense of loneliness. I've definitely been, feeling that a lot lately. A sense of loneliness because even, not having custody of my son, like he doesn't stay with me at night. So at the end of the
Yeah.
day, like, dang,
Yeah.
like I didn't even know there was that part of me missing or that would miss, that
Wow.
again, being
Yeah,
away from
man.
my family, being away from, where I'm from, my friends and all that stuff. Got to visit. Shout out to our boy Mino. I got to see him a couple weeks
Man,
ago. Me and
prayer
Steve, we pulled up on him,
keep keep our boy Mino in your prayers, everybody.
definitely. Speaking of bromances, I love you, man. Mino,
Love you,
that's my
Mino.
dog.
That's my boyfriend.
Yeah, yeah, man.
Uh,
Oh my God. You know what?
what?
Oh, he gonna love that. You
What?
know
That's
what?
my boyfriend.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We gonna love that, bro. So,
We
yo,
can't
man.
say that.
Now that's what I'm saying. Keep that energy. This is gonna be funny. We hear this episode, yo. When he's back, he's gonna be back soon. He's gonna update everybody. That's gonna be funny, bro. We keeping that.
Love
I
you,
ain't edited
Mino.
that out. I ain't edited that out.
Yeah.
That's right.
Love
They
you,
go
Mino.
together. Yeah, there you go. They go together. Sorry. Cover your ears, Mrs. Moore. Um, so so man, you gotta be all off track. I don't even know what I'm talking
Oh, my bad, my bad.
about. But no, again, being a little, isolated, being in a new place, new environment,
Yes.
not
Yep.
necessarily
Yep.
having the relationship I thought maybe I would have, or the time I, thought I would have, with my child and all that stuff. It's just, trying to work through that in a healthier way instead of, developing patterns of destructive behavior. I don't want to have to, pull up to your AA meetings, shout out to the people, but I don't want to have to
Yeah.
go down that road.
Yeah.
Codependence anonymous, I'm learning about that. I don't necessarily want to go too deep down. Trying to catch it early because I can see myself, doing a lot of self-soothing, self-medicating,
Yeah.
checking out things that I originally went to therapy for, all 1 year ago. I've been in therapy a little over a year now, for me to be more present in my life. It's kind of like, lately I've had to, be even more conscious of that.
Yeah.
To be
I
present because the things aren't going necessarily the way I thought they were. It's easier for me to
Yeah.
just check out and not feel it and just say, oh,
Mhm.
everything's fine. Everything. No, to really deal with this stuff, it takes a lot. It takes a lot of strength, and to do it in a non-inebriated and intoxicated and
Very healthy way.
destructive, healthy way.
And do it in a
Yeah,
healthy way.
that's
Yeah.
the struggle, man. That's the challenge, man. So
Well, that's the daily routine. That's
there
the
you go. That's
daily
the
upkeep.
struggle, the
That's the
daily
daily
struggle.
maintenance.
Yep.
So I think while I would use AA meetings as daily maintenance as like a form of medication, I think people who are not necessarily a recovering addict or alcoholic could benefit from visiting those meetings as more of an educational or informative meeting. So it doesn't have to be like, oh, I need to go as far as like a maintaining a lifestyle or help me maintain or doing some maintenance in your recovery program. But go to be informed and to be educated, because they do have open meetings, which is open to people of all kinds, but they also have closed meetings where it's just closed to people who are recovering alcoholics and
Okay,
addicts.
thank you for pointing that out. I'm
Um,
pretty sure people
oh
didn't know
yeah,
that.
so
Yeah, I'm very
I
sure
don't know
a
if I
lot of people
ever
that
hit
didn't know that.
on that
No,
when I
I
was
don't think so.
discussing
Yeah,
it.
open meetings or
So
closed meetings. Okay.
there's open meetings, there's closed meetings. There are men's meetings, and then there's like co-eds meetings. If you Google it, you can find anything. If you type in AA meetings, type in AA and then your state, or AA and then your city. You can get a ton of stuff to pop up. Right now, me and some of my partners are working on incorporating a lot of this into the More Awareness website. So stay tuned for that. We'll have a lot more resources and information to pass out to people as far as recovery goes. So I plan on trying to help as many people as I can. Like I said, man, I do this out loud for those of you guys who are struggling with this in silence.
Yeah, man, for sure, man. Shout out to you, man. Not all heroes wear capes. Some wear
Some
do
of us
rags
wear
and bathrobes.
do rags and bathrobes.
My man out here living. What y'all know about that?
Which y'all know
Yeah,
about
man.
it,
That
man.
nice house too. Again, like I went up there visiting real quick, man. Steve, like, boy, I'm telling you, this sobriety thing, there's something to it.
Oh man,
Okay.
I can't call it. Thank God. I just want to give all the praise to God. You know? Won't He do it?
Won't he will?
Won't
Won't
He
he
will?
will? Man.
Yeah, man.
Shout out to you, man. And so yeah, man, on that note, hey man, I hope y'all really enjoyed this episode. Again, we had a little bit of fun with it, got a little vulnerable, but that's the mix, man. So
And
I know
once
that's
again,
what y'all came here for.
thank you, Eric. Once again, man. I love this. Every time we do this, man, it makes me feel better. So I hope somebody listens to this and they smile and in their day is just a little bit better.
For sure, man. I don't know a better way to end the show, man. So hey, on that note, until next time, y'all, peace.
Peace.